Hello, welcome to the Out There channel. This is Paul. This is the second tutorial that I'm going to make on ManyCam. This is how to quickly set it up to stream from your desktop or laptop. It's quite easy to do, so I'll go through the process. This is unscripted, so there may be a few problems on the way and I may trip over my tongue, so bear with me. So this is where we were up to last time. We just finished creating our intro video and some interview. So now we want to stream it to YouTube. We could save it to a file, as you could see that we completed it to a file and uploaded it the manual way. But if we want to do a live stream and you can play our intro and then switch to a desktop, this is how we can do it. So first of all, we want to set up the streaming side of things, and this is quite easy to do. So you click on the little blue icon here that looks like a antenna that's transmitting information. So it gives us some default setups. I generally don't use those. What I do is I create my own one here, and we can specify a name. So we call this one YouTube, WT for short, unlisted. So you can create multiple ones for public, unlisted, or private. So you can copy it next time you use it. Instead of having to recreate it each time, you can say use the last stream that was for testing, say, and it'll be unlisted. And you know to use the unlisted one. Or if you want to send public, you switch to the public one and define on Google a previous public one you did where all the settings are all the same. So first of all, give it a name, and we need a proxy, well, not a proxy server, RTMP server, and a StreamKey which encrypts it from your end to Google. So to do that, we've got to go to our browser. I've installed Brave this time because I don't like Internet Explorer. And as we saw, we had a blank window when we tried to capture the app window, which should never happen. So normally you load into your web page. So let's see, where do we get back to? The main page. I'll just take it back to the main page. So we go through the whole process. So normally when you log in, it gives you the stats, a dashboard page like this. And you just need to click on the create button and say go live. Then it brings us to that screen that we had up before. It takes a wee while to load sometimes. And this is where we can actually say use a previous live stream. So I did a test run earlier to make sure it worked under VM, a virtual window, and it did, but it was a wee bit slow because it was using software, not hardware acceleration. And you can also select a public one. So this one we want to do just an unlisted test run. So we'll start it like it's a fresh new person doing it that hasn't done a previous live stream. So just click on new stream and it gives us a blank page. You want to say up here test run or something like that. As soon as it comes back to us, test run number 1. We want to make it unlisted. That means it won't be broadcast to your followers. Only you will know about it unless you give away the link to the newly created video. So we could just say nothing to say here. Now I get a tickle in the throat. Hope it's not corona. You can specify a category. Just leave it whatever you want to. If it's unlisted, if it's public, then you want to give it a category. of what your video is going to be about. You can schedule it for later or just do it from now. We can add a custom thumbnail or automatically create one for you. Ideally it's best to create a thumbnail for your video, but we'll let it create one for us this time, and I'll probably use our default logo for the channel. And none of the other stuff we need to worry about. Just say create stream, just make it for adults only. And now it's gone to the manage tab and it's created us a default with no data received at the moment because we're not broadcasting to it. So this is the control panel we get under Google, and we can scroll down here to get the information about generating a key and the link that we want to send it to. So they've generated this URL, so we copy that and go to ManyCam. So that's the first input I wanted the server, so we just want to paste that in there. RTMP is what they use, encrypted string key. We need to get that set up, so we could use the default there if you want to, or you can go through the process. Let's see, so we want to create one. I've got some ones I created here before, but we'll go through and create a new one again, and we want to give it the name format 720p, description max 720p, variable bit rate, or you can specify what it's going to be. I suppose the default is variable when they create it for you, but we'll say we're going to at least do 720 using software algorithms. We're not using hardware acceleration, unfortunately. Probably could even do lower. I know it can do 500, but we can just get there at 1500 through the virtual window, but that's only 480p. But we'll try 720. We don't want to do 60 frames, we want to keep it to 30 or less. So just go create. And now we can select the one we just made. Format 720p. And now it's selected it. Now we can copy the password it created for us, and that's the second part of the input for ManyCam. So it goes in there, copy and paste, and that's it. As simple as that. Say finish or create. We don't need to create access for it. And we've created the YouTube unlisted one. Now, simply to start streaming what we got on the camera views on ManyCam, all you have to do is tick that one on. And if there's a problem, it'll let us know. Like if you got the password wrong, it'll pop up and say won't connect. And it should go green if it's all successful. Looks like it's alright. Streaming now. And now we should be able to get a preview back on our web page. So now it's got excellent connection instead of no data. Oh, no, there's no data, so why is it dropped off? Let's just see. Why is it offline? This is a problem of streaming from a virtual window where we're trying to capture it for a tutorial. I know it should work. What's happened? Enabled. Alright, another thing, you got to make sure it's 720p up here. So you got to make sure it's 720p. Why did it stop going? Security probably. Okay, is it stable now? Still seems to be sticking. Okay, what does it say? Live streaming, there you go. So let's go back. Okay, we got excellent connection. And it says we're now live. And there we go, we're getting images from ManyCam sent to Google now. And it'll be like 30 seconds behind what we're seeing on our screen here. So now we could actually capture that if we wanted to. We could play our intro. We could just play around with the preview to start with. So we could start our intro that we made. And we should see it come up here 30 seconds time. We'll be a bit glitchy because we ain't got much CPU to work with. We can pause it there. And it should still come up here at some stage. Here we go. So it's a wee bit more than 30 seconds behind. Okay, so it did actually capture all our data at 720p. And it's still receiving data in the buffers. So there you go. So we could actually go live, because it's unlisted, people won't know we're live unless we give away the link, which is up here. So we can copy it and give it to people to join in on the unlisted stream, and they can chat on the side as well. But it's that simple, easy peasy. So what should we do next? Well, let's show you what you normally do. And now we've got Brave installed. We should be able to capture the app window. So go to another camera view, which is blank, and we want to capture the Brave. Well, we want to capture the desktop normally, but we'll just capture the app window for Brave. And hopefully it works. You can see it's capturing our mouse already. The reason why it's black... Oh, we've got a problem again. Okay, it dropped out. Now that shouldn't normally happen. I did tell you some technical glitches might happen. So you can see it's picking up our mouse and drawing it, but why it's black is because the Brave window is actually behind the ManyCam window. But if we can resize this, let's choose another tab. We should start to see some of the image, hopefully. Well, it worked last time I tried it. Maybe I should do app area. Probably chosen the wrong one. App area, Brave tab. That's probably better. There we go. So instead of looking at the whole window, it's actually looking in the tab itself. So you can see here we're moving around on the Brave window, next door to ManyCam here, and it sort of works. But you'll see what it does when you overlay it. Ooh, what's going on? Let me just resize that. It seems to be doing it alright though. Now let's just overlap it a wee bit there. You can see here, look, it's showing a bit of the ManyCam frame over top of the browser thing. So it's still capturing the browser edge, which is down here. It's got a funny way it does it, but this is a problem of using one window. But you can still use it, as you can see. You could minimize ManyCam while you're doing the other windows, right? So what also you can do is you can add in your camera now. Let's just resize that a bit better again. Make a small browser window. Normally you have Google there or something. And there you go, you can catch that and explain stuff for your browser. But now we want to add a layer to our camera. And it's created our camera here. Click on the plus sign. And if you've already got one added, you can just right click on it and it'll give it the same pop-up anyway, as you saw. Oh. I didn't want that one. So we want to add in an IP camera, which is outside camera, which is nighttime again. And there we go. Just to simulate a webcam, which I haven't got connected to the virtual windows here. So you can have yourself talking on picture while you're showing people stuff. Yeah, and of course that should be streaming also. So if we go back to here, is it going? Says it is. Normally when you got no signal you get the default thing with a countdown. Looks like it's put a schedule on for some reason. I don't understand why. Let's just expand it up a wee bit. Because I said no schedule. I think that's a bug surely. But it doesn't matter. If we go live, we should be able to capture what we're going to do on the screen now. So just shrink that back down. Ooh, wrong button. What's happened here? Got confused, have we? What's happened? I messed up the virtual window, did I? Don't know, what happened? Let me just fix it. Oh, here we go. I must have clicked that button up there thinking it was this inside the window. Okay. Another glitch. The outside camera's having trouble connecting at the same time too. But this is normally not the problem, not the case when you do it properly on a full open machine. It's only the tool where it's going to play up. But it's working okay. So we can go live. It's going live now. Hopefully. Yes, so it should now update what we're seeing on the screen here. We should be able to see some of it. So switch to our intro. I remember it was like a minute behind, wasn't it? It looks like it's just catching up now. Oh, you can see it's ticking over there. I think it hasn't caught up still. So we're going to play the intro anyway. Oh, here it goes. That's very glitchy. 99% here, so it's just hanging in there. And you can see the intro's only just now playing
It was
on the
a very
preview.
serious sighting. And here's what happened. My wife,
And there was the interview, but we can stop it there. And then we can switch to our desktop. So normally that's how you play your intro, and then you switch to your camera view, which is on your desktop, just simply by doing that. And then you can start showing people what are you doing on the screen, right? And have your picture on the screen down the bottom if you want to. Will it go bigger? You see it's very slow. Right. You can see here it's capturing everything we're doing. You see the mouse. So yeah, dog. Search on anything you want to. Let's see if it'll pick up my key presses. Come on, can't be that slow. And you can see here it's capturing what we're doing on the screen. And if we go to Google, it should be catching up about now, which it is. And it's also capturing what we're seeing at the same time. So we can end stream now, and we can play it back. You want to sure you want to end. So even if you crash off, Google will leave the stream trying to capture data for 12 hours, is it? It leaves it open quite a long time, so you can reboot your computer and resume your stream simply just by turning on that setting. So instead of redoing that each time you want to do a test run, you just keep that one as a test run in storage and just select it next time, copy and reuse, and that way you don't have to keep changing the password. And yeah, it's just that simple, you know. And you can say new string, and test run should be the last one you did, and you can just say copy it and reuse it. So we'll just get some CPU back again by stop streaming it, because it's going to encode what you're doing. And we'll just minimize it out the way. So there's our test run that we did. It's created a default thumbnail. Like I said, it'll be using your YouTube logo. So you can just say copy and use those settings again, and it will use the same URL and the password, encrypted key. So that's how I normally do it. And if you crash off and stuff, you can go back into manage here. And if you've got a running stream, you can actually end stream that way, just by using the manage tab. Or if you've already got one that's sort of reconnected again, you'll get the preview panel back up. So yeah, it's not too complicated. But yeah, you want to probably have copied that key on that stream there. But because now we've closed it, I haven't got it in the clipboard. We can go back to Studio and go to Videos down the side. And Live tab. And our test one should be at the top here. And we can say then delete it forever, and we'll play it. So we can now play it, see how it come out. It's now unlisted. It should be unlisted. Block that. Here we go. It's unlisted just to make sure that no one else can see it. Now, because we didn't type anything in the chat, that's disabled. But if you typed anything in the side chat, that would simply come up on the side as well. So everything that we're doing on screen was captured, and now it's playing the intro. Don't think it's muted. Oh, that's right, so it was on that screen for a while, but we didn't actually see it come up because of the slowness. Now we click on the intro in a minute and it starts from the beginning. Now here it goes, just started it now. You can see that all the timing's out because the CPU was at about 100%. But when you do it, you shouldn't have any problems. Then we stop it and then switch back to the desktop of the Chrome browser. And that's where we switch cameras, and that's where we stopped it.
It was a very serious.
I know this because we did a bit of the interview run first, didn't we?
My wife, Ramona, and myself at the time were.
Okay, we switched to the desktop now. And anything that we recording on the browser window should be captured, plus the outside camera, of course, which is down in the corner, which normally would be a picture of you talking. And of course this would be also sent to the virtual camera. If you've got a guest on Skype, he would be able to see you in the corner and what you're doing on the screen, which is a nice feature of ManyCam, which OBS doesn't have. So you can see here it's me resizing it and just trying to type in dog. So normally you'd be talking at the same time, explaining what you're doing, but because I'm creating a tutorial we're using the microphone, it's a bit pointless. And there you go. Seems to have captured it perfectly. So what other things do we need to look at? So we can close that down. Oh, look at right here. Close that down. You see here is a bug as well. Brave's close button, minimize button all disappeared, but you don't really need it because you can just click on that to minimize it, which is generally what I do quite a lot, and you can right click and just say close that way. So I'm not sure why the buttons are invisible there, but that's all going to do with layers of graphics and bugs in the software, how it's trying to use it by software only rather than hardware. So yeah, there are some other settings here for your stream. You can see now we've closed the Brave browser. It's given an error screen here that it can't capture the window. So it's quite good. But if you go up to the settings here, for me to get it working properly, I had to lower the bitrate. RTMP streaming. And I'll just see if I can zoom in. Is it going to zoom in for us? No, it's not working. But I normally have it set on use recommended settings, and you can set it onto high speed, balanced quality, or high quality. So I've set it on high quality here, not speed, because we haven't got the speed. And I've set audio onto 160-bit instead of 128. Although that makes much difference, I don't think people could hear it. So there are a few settings you can do. Apart from that, that's it, you know, not really complex. And I suppose I'll leave it there. Don't think there was anything else I needed to show you. So now you know how to create a simple intro and then stream it and then capture your desktop with your camera and start talking to the people on your side chats that are watching the stream live. But just make sure it's unlisted if you're doing a test run, and when you're ready, create another one with public and create another entry in here. So you could just go +1 and create one called YouTube public, and you shouldn't need to touch that ever again once you've got it all set up. You just need to toggle it off and on these little switches here. It's that simple, you know. I like it. So yeah, we can shut that down now and say goodbye, and hopefully this capture come out okay. Good night.